The Tin Hifi P1 was a planar IEM that I wasn't a big fan of. It was alright, had some flaws, just wasn't for me. How does the Tin Hifi P2 stack up? Thank you to Farcel the Wizard for sending over the Tin Hifi P2. Do greatly appreciate it. Farcel the Wizard, you rock. Check out the links down below for how you can connect with Farcel the Wizard and give him a subscription. Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Today we're going to talk about the Tin Hifi P2. Check out the links down below. There'll be all kinds of information regarding the music that was used during this review, gear that was used during this review, where you can purchase the products, and also how you can connect with my channel and you can connect with me and support the channel. Check out those links. All right, so the Tin Hifi P2. A couple of things. Number one, they are 12 millimeter planar driver. They have a impedance of 32 ohms, sensitivity of 90 decibels, and a frequency response of 10 hertz to 20 kilohertz. They are extremely amp dependent, and they are not really able to be run portable, in my opinion. Couple things out there. Number one, I tried them on portable devices. I tried them on my Pioneer XDB30R, my Sony NWA105. Neither one of those were really able to drive the P2. Also, I tried them on the NextDrive Spectra X dongle and the X Duo Link dongle. Neither one of those really was sufficient at driving the P2. So if you are looking to drive these portable, you're going to need something that has a lot of power. And I mean a lot of power and a lot of current. And I didn't have that gear. As far as running them on desktop, they do work on desktop, and that's the way I recommend them. This is an IEM for the desktop listener. I really enjoyed them on the MyTech Liberty, the Socris DAC 1420, and then also on the Ifi Audio Neo IDSD and the Ifi Audio Micro IDSD Signature. All of those devices powered the Tin Hifi P2 easily and were very much a pleasure to listen to. So I highly recommend the Tin Hifi P2 on a desktop. All right, with all that being said, one other change that I made, I did not use the stock tips of the P2. I did change to the Final Audio Type E tip. So the Final Type E tip is the one that I chose. I found that it did help with the seal. I didn't really have any other sonic improvements of it over the stock tip, but seal wise, they definitely sat in my ear better and were just more comfortable. So all sound impressions will be done with gear that's on my desktop and with the Final Type E tip. Let's get into this review. Sound-wise, I found that the P2 is a vast improvement over the original P1. I found that when driven properly, the bass is very pleasurable, very nicely extended. It is a little accentuated in the sub bass and in the mid bass, but it's a very fun bass, a very engaging bass, but at the same time, it has a good speed, very good quality, and it has really nice details and resolution. I found that the sub bass has good impact and the mid bass has nice fun punch to it, and it is just an overall pleasurable bass that at times can get itself in trouble on busier tracks, especially really deep sub bass tracks. It can get a little muddled and jumbled, but those are few and far between. I found that the bass of the P2 is very pleasurable, and it really met all of my needs. I rarely ever said I want more or I want less. The mids have a nice warmer touch to them. They have a very nice pleasurable tone. They are a little behind the bass, but it's not to the point where it's unbalanced or not cohesive. I found that the mids were very pleasurable, had a nice details and clarity to them, very good airiness to them. Instrument isolation and separation is very good, and I really do enjoy the P2's mids a whole lot. They are just very pleasing. Every now and then in the upper mids, it is a little bit borderline aggressive. It can get to that point, but it never really crosses the line. I found that it was just right on the edge of being a little aggressive. And then the tone is a little bit on the planar dry side. There is a little bit of an edge to it, but the warmthness kind of removes that. And it's a nice little rounded, but every now and then you'll catch that edge that you can get from a planar dry sound. Treble wise is very nicely extended. It really goes high if you want to hear the treble and you're sensitive to upper treble. These may be problems for you. I found that the Tin Hifi P2 extends the best I've heard of an IEM, especially in this price point. It is a little accentuated up top. So if you are sensitive above about 15 or 16K, you may look elsewhere. For me, my ears are kind of to that point where 16K doesn't bother me as much. I'm 45 years old and I did abuse my ears when I was younger, so my hearing is a little limited in that range. But for me, it just didn't really sound too much, but it was borderline of, okay, this is a hot IEM at times. I also do listen at lower levels, 65 to about 75 dB listening levels. I found that if I raised the volume, the treble climbed and really became a danger zone quality. So do be careful on listening volumes with the P2. Soundstage wise, it doesn't have the widest soundstage, which was kind of amazing considering that they are a semi-open design. I found that the soundstage is about average, maybe a little bit above average, but where they really excel is in depth and layering. I found that they have a very good staging as far as being able to dissect it and tell where everything is seated and how things are placed, things traveling across the stage. It is a very good at doing imaging, depth, and layering. I really do enjoy the P2 soundstage for that. It never really bothered me that it wasn't the widest stage in the world because it has really good airiness to it and just very pleasant sounding details and clarity within the soundstage. The center image can be a little bit focused, especially for vocals, which is nice because it brings everything to the forefront. Can be a little bit distracting sometimes on some acoustical and orchestral tracks. Every now and then that mid focus will be a little too strong, but for the most part, I found that that wasn't a deal breaker. Overall, I am very pleased with the P2. I found that the P2 has a very pleasant sound, a very pleasing sound with an airiness and a brighter treble and a higher treble reaches that I really do enjoy. I am somewhat of a treble head, so I found that the P2 was very pleasing in that regard. As far as build design and quality, I found that the P2 is built very similar to a T2 Plus with a little bit of thickness to add in the planar and that semi-open vent. I found that if you think that the T2 Plus is comfortable, you'll like the P2. It is very similar in that regard. I found that the shell is not too thick where it goes into the ear. The angle is good, and I just really enjoy them. Found them to be extremely comfortable. I could wear them for hours on end. And again, the final Type E tip helped with the seal. The cable is extremely nice. Ear hooks are just about the right tension and flexibility. Does default into a 2.5 millimeter. You do get two adapters in the box. One is a 3.5 millimeter and one is a 4.4. And I highly recommend using the 4.4. It works really well with the IFI gear. And I found that with the P2, if you have the right gear, you get an amazing sound. If you have the wrong gear, you have an unpleasurable experience. It's going to sound shrill. It's going to sound very bright, very tinny, and lackluster in the bass. So make sure you're powering them properly. If you can, run them balanced. Overall, I want to purchase a Tin Hifi P2. I couldn't say that about the P1. The P2 impressed me. Price tag is a little, So I was asked the question, would you purchase them at the price? And I said, if I had purchased the Tin Hifi P2 at the asking price of $369, I would have been content with it. Would I have liked to get it cheaper? Oh yeah, of course. At the current price of $339, it is a little bit more acceptable. But if you have gear that isn't able to drive the P2, I don't know you would be very happy. And also $339 is a lot of money to ask, and that's only something that you can answer for yourself if you're willing to drop those type of coin. But for me, I'm definitely picking up a pair of P2s somewhere along the line. If I can get them for cheaper, then yeah, obviously I would, but I like these a lot. and I highly recommend them if you have the right gear. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.